Hey, welcome to Happy Hour, and there's no happier hour than if you go to a place that has some beer. We are at Shortleaf Brewing in Camdenton, Missouri, checking out all the greatest brew stuff we got going on here. Let's see what these brothers, John and Michael, have brewing up inside here at Shortleaf. Let's go see. Well, we're sitting here with John at Shortleaf Brewing Company, and we got a couple nice brewskis here. John, thank you for pouring us up some nice brewskis and letting us come in here and see what you have going on here at Shortleaf. I'm curious, because owning a brewing company, I would say, would be a little of a unique thing. How did you get to where you are now?
Well, my brother Michael and my brother Matt somehow got into kind of a little competition. One brother made a beer and it was terrible. And he was basically saying, you know, I'd like to see you do better. My brother Michael was like, well, yeah, challenge accepted. So he went off and made a beer himself with a kit, and it was just equally as terrible.
Oh, so the beer kits, not the way to go.
Yeah, well, you know, you can make good beer. You just have to know what you're doing. But they both made bad beer. But Michael was like, well, I'm not going to be, you know, let down by this. So he dove into it head first and started trying to figure out what he did right, what he did wrong, and kept following the passion. Got really into it. Got a job at a beer shop where he was doing demonstrations, teaching other people how to brew, brewing every week, which is a lot for a home brewer. Most home brewers don't brew that much. So
yeah.
He was able to brew a lot of beer over several years, and eventually I got drug into it somehow. I took an interest in it. We would come to the lake every year on my birthday, and we'd brew a beer down here, and we were doing a lot of beer brewing at home and for people's weddings and parties and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you know, after a while we kept doing it, and at some point I was like, you know, I want to open a place like a craft beer bar or something like that. And Michael and I were talking about we wanted to do it together, and we were going to put like a small little brew system in the corner or something like that, do like 1-barrel batches. I think it was 1 year later from the time we started planning that we bought our first location in O'Fallon, Missouri.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah.
And what brought you? I know you said that you've come to the lake weekends and vacation here. What brought you, or what made you go, you know what? The lake is where we need to open a second location.
Well, I love the lake. I all through college, I was down here every summer working at the bars and restaurants, stuff like that. I used to work in the marina and detailing boats, stuff like that. So I lived down here for a very long time, just in the summer seasonally. And then I bought my first home I bought it down here. And I lived here for many years. Michael lived in St. Louis and St. Peter, so when I ended up buying a home in St. Louis, and I was going back and forth a lot, and where we were at in St. Louis, there was not really, at the time, a really great place to get craft beer, so that was kind of what sparked it. But I spend about half my time down here all the time, so I'm always down at the lake. I've always loved it here. I think it's a great area. I think the atmosphere in the summers and the quietness of the winters, stuff like that, is always something that's appealed to me. So there wasn't a large-scale brewery down here, and we needed to expand production. And I thought, you know, it'd be great. We have a home down here. We can use it as a base, and we could, you know, I'm always looking for more reasons to be down here more.
Just an excuse to get to the lake, right?
Right. So
why don't you just own a brewery,
right.
Then you can come to the lake whenever you want, right?
Yep. So we put it in down here. We found this building, and it was perfect because it's all concrete and steel. The whole lower level of it, where the brewery and operations actually happen, is completely waterproof. Like, it ain't nothing to rot or anything. So we got the building, and we bought it, and we started tearing it apart. And you know, I think it took a little longer than the one in St. Louis because we were doing a little more casually. We weren't in a rush. But then, you know, just one day it's just done. You're just like, you walk in and all the steam piping's been welded together, all the insulation on the lines has been assembled, and all the equipment's been placed, you know, and it just really turned out great, and we've been able to pump out a lot more product and been able to keep up production, which is something we weren't able to do at our other locations.
Yeah.
We have a whole lot more different products. So we have 24 taps stainless, we have 16 down here, but we produce lots and lots of recipes. So we have a lot of rotationals. Anytime you walk in the door, you'll find something new or something different. we're always tweaking with recipes or coming up with new ones, and you know, we just like to cycle through a lot of different styles and products. There's usually something for anyone on draft down here.
Yeah. Not only do you have all the great craft beer on tap, but it's a full service bar. You have everything from whiskeys and wines and
Yeah, we don't
Jack
discriminate.
Daniels and everything.
Yeah, we
and,
don't
and
discriminate.
one day we came in here on a Sunday, and my fiance said, I would love to have a mimosa. And your bartender, it was Ava, she said, I can make you a beer mosa. And I thought, a beer mosa? I've never heard of that. I started laughing because I thought it was a joke. She made a mimosa out of a beer, and it was spectacular.
Yeah.
And my fiance drank 3 of them.
We have a
So,
couple different variations of the beer mosa too. So you know, we do one where we dump prosecco and blood orange wheat together, and then we do one with a hard seltzer that we make, and then blend it with orange juice and stuff like that. So they're very popular. People like them. So we do go through a lot of those when we're doing brunches and stuff like that. So.
Well, now we're down here in the brewery with Michael. Michael, how you doing?
Cheers. Good.
Cheers to you. So we've sampled the end of the process. How do we get from this to this?
Well, it's not a very complicated process, actually. I like that.
What do you mean not complicated? I'm looking around here and this looks quite complicated.
Right. So let me try to simplify this. So in a nutshell, what we do is we decide what we want to drink, first of all. That's the first step. So what do you want to indulge in? And then after that, it's piecing together the ingredients as if we were making a soup or something.
Okay.
So for us, the majority of the ingredient in a beer is water. So our water here is filtered, and we have a system that does that entirely for us. We don't sit there and run it through a cheesecloth or something. But we add different salts to get the right water profile that we're looking for on any given style that we'd like to have. So in general, we don't do anything to the water. We like the water to be a pronunciation of wherever we're at. So in this case, Camdenton, Missouri, you're drinking a beer that was made here, and the water is what it is. We didn't do much to it. There are a lot of companies out there that will adjust the water profile to match the exact style. So if like we're making an Irish stout, they will change the water profile to match Ireland, for example.
Huh.
So the base ingredient is water, and that's not hard to do. We just turn a valve on and we got water. But then after that, we have to choose the ingredients like the grain, and that's the second most prevalent ingredient in brewing. And the grain is what provides us with the sugar that the yeast likes, that makes the alcohol that we like. So we add, that's what,
That's right.
That's what you're drinking. So we've got a base malt here, and that's usually 2-row barley. It can be 6-row.
Okay, so what is 2-row and 6-row?
They're the different types of plants. So barley is a grass, and on the stalk, if you've got a 2-row barley, you've got 2 rows of the seed.
Oh, okay.
And a 6-row is 6.
Okay, so you have barley. This looks very much.
It's very similar. This one is a specialty malt. So we have the majority of the beer is a base malt, and then we'll add specialty ingredients. In this case, this is a caramel.
Yeah, this smells quite a bit different than the first one.
Right. So this is because they malted it just slightly different, and you're getting a different characteristic. So this will add slight toffee notes, sometimes biscuit, to a beer. If you're going for a more malty beer, like maybe a brown ale or I don't know, a Vienna Munich lager or something like that.
And hang on, I think I know this one. Is this hops?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of people think they always go to rabbit pellets or something.
Oh,
but
wow. Now with hops, is this something that I could just eat that?
If you wanted to.
What is this gonna taste like? Like, I have it in a beer and I enjoy it in a beer.
Well, this is a concentrated version of what you've got in that glass, so you're welcome to indulge if you wish.
I'm going to. Yeah, that's
You're probably getting a really really bitter experience right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it chalky?
yeah, very much chalky.
I thought so.
It like expands in the mouth.
Yeah, so if we were to
I
get
don't
these,
recommend this.
I warned you, kind of.
Yeah?
So we first choose the grains, we measure them out to the specific style, and then we mill it in our mill that pushes it up to a grist case. At this location, we're able to produce 1,000 gallons in a 10-hour
wow.
a 10-hour brew day.
Yeah.
So we can do that, but if we only had a 2-vessel system, it would take 10 hours to do half of that. So it would take double the time to do the same amount of brewing.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important. If we had a 4-vessel system, we could do it even faster. So we don't have that yet.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet, but
That's
it
the
is,
expansion.
Yeah.
So after the brewing happens, then is it done? Are we ready to drink it?
No,
or-
it's just a sugar water at that point.
Okay.
So it's just like your coffee. If somebody wanted to drink that, that would be fine. You'd be done. But what we like is alcohol, and the only way to get that is your 4th ingredient of brewing. If you're doing the German Reinheitsgebot, with you only have the 4 ingredients, we add yeast, and the yeast will, depending on what style you want, will change your style. So we typically use pretty clean cut yeast strains that don't add a lot of experience to it. So some Belgian styles or sours or those types of beers are specific to the yeast strain. So just like we have a ton of options for grain, a ton of options for hops, we have a ton of options for yeast strains. And so it's picking and choosing the right combination of all 3 of those elements that really make a beer stand out. Yeah.
So once all of that process is done, does it go into like kettles or something to store? Or?
Yeah, so the yeast, again, the yeast you pick depends on the time it takes to convert this sugar liquid called wort into what we call a beer. So when we're brewing, people are like, when's the beer ready? It's not a beer. It's just a soup that we've made taste bitter and it's sugary. It's mostly sugar tasting. When you add the yeast, if you use a quick yeast like these yeast strains from Norway, or they're called Kveik strains, they'll ferment out in 3 or 4 days and they'll be done.
Oh, wow.
Or if you go the route of a lager, like most people in the US have historically liked, a lager takes anywhere from 5 to 8 weeks. And sometimes beers can take even longer than that. If they're big beers like Imperial Stouts, they need time to age and actually be old because they taste better. So it can be quick, it can be a slow process, but no matter what, we chill it once it's done, in our minds, done. We chill it so everything helps, that chilling process drops most of the particulates out that haven't done already. We'll do some fining of it. We don't do any filtration here. So if you ever experience something in our cans or on draft, that is on purpose.
It's a natural thing.
Yeah, and then we'll carbonate it up in the tanks. We don't do any natural carbonation, so some breweries will add a little bit of sugar into their bottles, for example, and that'll be a natural fermentation that happens again to carbonate the beer. And those are, a lot of Hefeweizens are like that. But here we do a CO2 carbonation with a carb stone, and then we push it into kegs or cans or whatever.
I've tried one of those brew kits and I don't know half of this. So I feel like I'm just about done with this beer.
Yeah.
Is it time to sample one here? Oh, okay, I'm done with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, we should definitely sample.
Yeah, let's sample.
So, all right.
This is so cool.
I'm gonna rinse our glasses out with our fancy rinser.
All right, Michael, we are standing in front of a large drum of what I can only imagine is amazingness inside of here. So is this the last process? Is this when we're all done? What
Pretty
do we
much.
have going on here?
You have this is a fermenter, and this is called a uni-tank, meaning that we do both primary and secondary fermentation in this tank. So primary fermentation is when all the action happens. It's when it's really turbulent and the yeast is going crazy. It's reproducing, it's eating all the sugar, it's farting alcohol and CO2. That's the part that we like, actually.
Yeah.
Then once they're done, typically what happens is you'll cool it down and you'll transfer it over to a finishing tank, which is like that one right behind you.
So now what do you have in here? Which one is this?
This is our blood orange wheat, and this is our most popular beer by far. It's our #1 seller in St. Louis. Interesting enough, down here at the lake, our #1 seller is actually our IPA, our West Coast IPA. So it's interesting how just the geographic location of a few hours, help yourself,
Yeah.
changes the profile of what people actually want to indulge in.
I do love how it is like this. This feels to me a great summer beer
Yeah.
when you're like hot, you just get done mowing and you're like, I just need something nice and cool.
Yeah.
That right there, that is delicious.
Thank you. Yeah, it is, like I said, the aromatics come from the yeast strain that we picked. It's SO4, so that's an English style ale yeast. So it gives off a little aromatics of flower, but some citrus notes too. The blood orange puree that we put in is a aseptic fruit puree that we get from Oregon. And we add about 3 pounds per half barrel, so a lot of puree goes
wow.
into this. But it lends itself to a nice. It gives it a little bit darker color than it had before, not much, but it gives off more of that citrus notes you're tasting. And when people hear orange, they think orange juice or like the orange that you think
No,
of.
it's such a nice.
It's more of a bitter taste and citrus, like almost kind of lime. But blood orange is not orange. It's different. So it's a good crushable beer for sure.
Absolutely. Well, I say we crush them. How about that?
Cheers.
Thank you again, Michael. And thank you so much for visiting us here at Shortleaf and seeing this brewing process. Thank you so much for showing us all the ins and outs.
Hell yeah.
And
Cheers.
I'm excited about having some more beer. So let's head upstairs and see if we can order some more. How about that?